Good evening, kitties and ghouls. I just want you to go vote for Team Disgruntled Octopus. Soon he will be the Dark Overlord, and he will rule and reign. You must help us defeat Team Grumpy Granny. Vote for Team Disgruntled Octopus by subscribing to Team Disgruntled Octopus today.
Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the worst reselling podcast to get today. And
Hey.
Before
how come I seem to have been relegated to the bottom?
Well,
all of a
that's what
sudden.
I was going to say, is that you're the third person that came in, so
I'm asserting my dominance.
There you go. You got to winch now.
Yeah.
Jeez, look at that, Leanne. You have to get
That's
some
much
time.
better. I feel much more comfortable up here.
I suppose before we go into the pleasantries or the in-pleasantries is what you just did. What did you think of our new sponsor? We just rolled a little short at the front from our new sponsor.
Just absolutely amazing, isn't it?
I know.
I'm speechless almost about how
I
good it is.
know. I was going to say, I don't say very often, but I completely agree with you. I do believe that, go Team Octopus. So, thanks again for for that. So, for those that haven't played, and before I get to Blake and say hello to him, he's down the bottom again where he belongs, apparently, according to Leanne.
I didn't know we had a class system.
Well, we do. That's right. We need someone to hold us up, mate. So,
and it's just like when you have your favourite chair at the dining table and your favourite chair in the lounge room. I've got my favourite spot on StreamYard. Thank you very much.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Blake, you're front and centre, mate. So might be better.
Oh.
But I suppose, we're going to talk a bit about community and the life cycle of the reseller this episode. But before we get too into it, Grumpy Granny and me are having a bit of friendly rivalry. First to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we have a person in the community, which I'll put his link down below with his details. So he's actually made a little short video for Leanne and myself. So I just ran mine at the start because obviously it's my show and I'll do what I want, and I'll run Leanne's in a couple of seconds. So here we go.
Hello, I'm Christopher's mama, and I'm here to tell you that you should cast your vote for Grumpy Granny. She's in a competition with that dirty old disgruntled octopus. He's trying to rule the world. You got to stop him. He's maniacal. Please vote for Grumpy Granny by going there and subscribe now. The first one to 1,000 wins. Go Team Granny!
There we go. It's done. And welcome back. It's all a bit disorganised, so we just watched another 30 seconds. How are you this week, Leanne?
I'm very well. Very well. And I had a bit of luck yesterday. So I went to the post office to take my 2 trolleys. My sales have increased enough, get out of it, that I've had 2 trolleys full of mail, and picked up my little bit of sniping that I did on eBay with my 2 little babies there that I'm going to resell. And
sniping babies.
Yeah, sniping babies. Anyway, they were completely naked and they're anatomically correct boys.
Oh, okay. Well, all
yes.
right.
So
I'll leave that one run low. It's on you, Blake.
Good thing you're not monetized, otherwise I'd be gone.
So anyway, I thought, well, the op shop's next to the post office, so I'll nick in there and see if they've got some baby clothes that I can put on them. And as it turned out, they had dolls' clothes, which was even better. But when they were out, the box was out the back. So while the lady was out the back getting the box, I stepped into the little, it's like a kid's room where they put all the toys and things. And I found something for sale.
Oh, Viewmaster.
Yeah. And so it's the Viewmaster, which is in good working condition. Oh, it's upside down, I might add. And 4 reels. So there's 3, which is a set of dinosaur ones, which I can't actually find any other of those dinosaur ones listed at all anywhere. So that will be great. They're actually worth probably more than the Viewmaster. And then there's a general one, which has got all different, like Disney sort of, well, maybe they're not all Disney because there was Superman. He's not Disney, is he? So, yeah, all different ones.
On now, Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, bring back a bit of memories for me.
So, have a guess how much?
I don't know, but you're going to tell us. $2.
$5.
50 cents.
Holy hell. Scammed.
Just shows right place, right time.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's right. So what are you looking at for the Viewmaster? Are you going to sell it as a bundle or?
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm a little bit undecided yet because I've got to find the actual correct model, because that one appears to be the one before Tyco. The Tyco ones are going for around 30 to 40, but the ones previous to that, some of them are going for 70 or 80. So if it works out that that's one of those, I've possibly listed on its own, because the actual reels, if you've got ones that are rare, which these ones appear to be because I can't find any, they're, again, you can get anywhere from 40 to, depending on the content. And I think dinosaurs would be a fairly popular one. So I might be able to get $50, even $60 for those.
Yeah, so it might be worth just bundling it with the generic, like the generic one that you said.
Yeah.
This is as a bundle, then, like you said, split the dinosaurs from there. But that's enough boring stuff. How are you, Blake?
I'm good, yeah. I've gone for a time travel back there a bit. I had one of them when I was a kid, and I had the dinosaurs as well, and I don't know what happened to it. So
it's obviously fallen into the Donald op shop by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's probably exactly mine, because I have most of those films. But yeah, I'm good. Just plodding along.
And I've seen that you released a new video this week about how to wash clothes and bore 3/4 of your audience.
Exactly. Yes. Bit of
I'll tell you what though, I did have a little heart-stopping moment when I was watching that, because when you laid that out and you said, "Oh, this one's already clean," and then you went to, like, as if you're going to reach for something, and I thought, "Oh no, he's going to get some beetroot juice or some red wine or something and tip it on it and stain it to show how he cleans it." And I thought, "Oh no, don't!" But you didn't anyway, thank goodness.
No,
I would have done that video for everyone.
Yeah, I would have done that with a different shirt, not a $40 Ralph Lauren stripe looking thing. But that shirt's already gone to sell, which is good. But yeah, good, decent video. I made it a few weeks ago. I completely forgot it was coming out, so go watch it.
Yeah, well, I did notice there was an absence of a certain handsome octopus. There's a channel member of your channel that was promised a shout out for my $1.19.
I know. Yep, I feel like I ripped you off a little bit there, but you'll just have to wait a little bit longer.
I'm taking
you get a mention in my next one if that.
I'm taking you to court for damages. I'm stressed out. I'm gonna get our favourite rock star in Florida to do an expose video on you and see how you feel about that.
Yes.
See how much of a scam artist I am.
We might be able to go viral yet again, Granny. We'll just see who it is.
Good.
Just throw one of our own members under the bus and we're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, you could just about throw me under, because I had an order I had to cancel the other day because I didn't have it. So at least I didn't ship it in an empty envelope or something like that. But did a big old stock take, and there was a lot of errors. So I'm glad that I did.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Well, and you remember I said to you that I thought I might have to do the same because I couldn't find that book. I found it yesterday, thank God. Because I was at the point, like, yesterday was my cutoff that I was going to have to message him and say, I can't find it. And I don't know how it got put where it got put, but I found it.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
Escaped with my teeth.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling when you don't have an item. I've had it very rarely ever happen, but there's a few things that have either happened on the back end or my own mistakes or what, I don't know what, but there was a fair few things there that, I had about, I think it was 18 or 22 listings that were just completely gone off of eBay, but were in my inventory. So it's a substance job.
Well, the Octopus is very, very distressed at the level of incompetence across the both of you, and had the exact same thing happen yesterday for myself. Actually, I sold 2 shirts. Then I sent them a combined invoice because then I went to get the shirts out and realised that I hadn't had one of them. So I just messaged them and said, "Hey, look, there was an issue with the automated system that dragged it across to eBay, and unfortunately, we're out of stock." So I just sent him a revised invoice for the one shirt, and he's happy as Larry. So then I'll punish him in 3 days' time, saying he didn't pay. Then I'll rub my tentacles together.
Evil.
That's pretty much been the highlight of my day. It's all very exciting. Yeah, Grumpy Granny with her Viewmaster, and she can chase little kids down the street, say, "Look at my wares and look at what I got to show you." Blake with his boring video about I can't even think what it's called. They're cleaning Vanish. I was watching it when I was driving the Octomobile and almost drove off into a tree. That's how riveting that video is. But strongly suggest I'll put the link down.
It was good. It was
good. It grabbed your attention. That's why. So
yeah. Well, that's one way of putting it.
Oh, you're awful. What about people's sales? How have your sales been the last few days?
Good, but mine picked back up since since it's sort of because I had that cancellation, it kind of died off for 2 days, and now it's back being really good. So yeah, yesterday was a good day on Depop and stuff. So I'm back on the hype train. bit happier now. So yeah, sales have been pretty good here.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't get hit with that promotion fee. Remember, I told you I dropped it from 12.3 to 6%, and no negative effects at all. The traffic was pretty much across that. But having said that, I did do the reset later that day, and a couple of sales came straight through. So I'd be curious if that would negate the traffic fall from playing around with promoted listings. So that could potentially be something those people playing at home could try if they're looking at adjusting their promoted listings.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would seem to be the only explanation as to why, because, I mean, normally if you drop, you've only got to drop 1% and you get a bit of a lag, don't you, in sales? Yeah. So, given that, that's good.
So that's something that I found. Like I said, I haven't tried it numerous times to see if it's something, but it might be just coincidence, but, it looks like there's a little bit of a correlation between the two because maybe the new traffic boost kind of off-played it, so maybe that's something. But and also, I forgot to ship something on time yesterday, so I'm being beaten a little bit today. So that's the level of incompetence around here. It's scary. But having said that, Grady, I actually sold a vintage T-shirt on Depop today, and I had the sound. Ooh. This is the first time I've actually had the sound. So
wow, very good.
Shocking when you get it.
I was about to say, Mrs. Octopus thought it was the pokies. She thought I was playing, rubbing the screen to make sure it was all good.
It lingers for a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes on for 40 minutes. I thought it was Grumpy Granny talking to me. It's like, Jesus, is it going to be quiet anytime soon?
So was that on the computer? You got the sound?
No,
or on your phone? Oh, well, I wonder why I'm not getting a sound on my phone.
Well, like I said, it's the first time I've always had the sound on, and this is the first time I've played it.
So did you? Have you just done you're using an iPhone, presumably? Yeah. So have you just done the recent update?
No, I don't think so.
There's just been an update, and I did it last night, so maybe that might help.
Possibly, but like I said, I normally do the updates as they roll out. So unless it's done it overnight when I was asleep, I'm not too sure. But no, it's definitely it's good. It does sound like poker machines. It sounds like the old money rolling down to the poker machine part. So
right.
Feels like you're making more money.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, at the moment, I'm going off eBay today. I am making more money on Depop with my one sale.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat today.
Yeah, well, I've gotten back onto the Depop bandwagon as such. Like I've only had the 2 sales, both been very good. But I started again last night, so I went through my inventory and got all my Levi's and made sure they were all right to go. And I've cross-listed all those. And so I think I had 6 pair of Levi's. Who was ka-chinging?
Me. I did a sneaky. I accepted an offer. I did the sneaky little microphone trick.
It was a 99-cent toy train.
Yeah, and
it's a $4.
Yeah, so now going forward, I'm going to be listing all the jeans and everything I list. I'm going to be transferring across. Oh, and Blake, honestly, next time I go thrifting with you, if I ever pick up a pair of velvet jeans, can you tell me not to bring them home?
Why?
I think
they're going to be worth a bit, but fluff.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
obviously clings to it.
I know. Oh, look, I've lint roller after lint roller after lint roller I was going. So anyway,
I got velvety skin. I don't have fluff, of course.
I bet you do if you got close up.
Oh, I was about to say I got an annoying person attached to me, but that's the only thing.
That's enough.
What else has been happening, Granny, before we get into the topic of the week?
What else has been happening? Well, nothing. Well, I'll tell you what, I have been listening to a new podcaster or a new YouTuber in the reselling market. Quite interesting to listen to. He's got a different style to a lot of people, but he's Polish Pete. And Hey Sells mentioned him a while ago, and then I can't remember who I was actually listening to last night, but someone else mentioned him as well. So I got him out.
I've heard of him.
He's got quite interesting views on how the algorithm works and how different things, like even the search, why the search is working differently and all that sort of stuff. And some of it makes quite sense. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I've watched a few of his videos by the looks of things. Yeah.
It's Flipping for Laughs was the channel that I was talking about earlier, Granny. I wrote his name down, but like I said numerous times, these eyes are painted on, so apologies in advance for that, Chris. But
Hi,
I will
Chris.
put your details.
I have seen that there's something there. I just haven't had a chance to get to it today, but I'm going to as soon as I get off here.
Oh, well, that's right, Grady. You'll see them as soon as I send you the edited version through. Probably after an hour after we finish, because I'll splice them into the footage. But they're actually quite entertaining. Thanks for that, Chris. And like I said, I'll put his details in below. He's quite a new YouTuber from what I gather. He's only got about 20, 30 subs or something along the lines of that. So, by all means, slink downstairs and give him a subscribe and give him a watch and help him out from that department. And what I will say that before we go too far into the episode as well, Grady, I'm going to do a 31 days of Christmas this month, or next month, sorry. So every day in December, I'll actually put on the community page a couple of the, I suppose, the smaller YouTube channels that I watch, and all those different things. So if they got under 1,000 subscribers, I'll probably put them on that. So I'll cycle through that for a day. Yeah. So Blake, there's no hope. There's no hope for your channel, mate.
Help.
So that brings my next question up, right? Seeing as you mentioned Christmas, because I refuse to put up any Christmas decorations whatsoever until the 1st of December. And that is just around the corner. And so by the time we film for our next podcast, I may have some Christmas decorations up. So I'm just wondering, looking at you two and behind the two of you, what are you going to do? Something special for Christmas?
Well, I'll let Blake go first because I'm doing something very special for Christmas.
Oh, we
decoration-wise, or just in general?
We don't really decorate. We might put up a Christmas tree, but that's about as far as it goes with us. We don't really like decorating at all because then I'll have to pull it all back down as soon as Christmas is over, and I can't be bothered doing that. And we don't have kids yet or anything like that, so I mean, we don't need to decorate for anyone but ourselves. And I'm very black and white.
Well, I can tell you right now, things will change once you do have family, because my daughter, she used to growl at me because I love Christmas and decorations, and I buy like a new Santa every year. So I've got quite a collection of Santas. I'll stop your bloody rot, you. And she'd always be growling at me, oh, you've got too much Christmas stuff. Well, now that she's got her own son and everything in a partner, they're just going nuts. And she was here on the weekend and tried to take half of my stuff home with her.
Well, tell her to come to the Octo lair and she can have as much Christmas stuff as she likes. But no, what I'm doing, Granny, is I don't know if you've been told or you've been seeing the little snippets on my Instagram page. I've kidnapped Santa.
Well, I did see something about it, yes.
Yeah, so Santa will be hanging up behind me. Or behind me, wherever. He'll be up there somewhere. So, yes, so this is in retaliation to Ashton. So, because he's annoyed me enough with his Instagram shorts, he is the reason why Santa won't be coming to the little good boys and girls this year. So,
oh, dear.
Unless he hits 150 subscribers before Christmas, Santa is not going to be released.
You're just putting a lot of pressure on the poor boy. Well, he's nearly hit his 100. He's up to 93 subs now, so he only needs 7 to get to your 100 sub goal.
Well, the fact of the matter is that once he gets to his 100 subs, so he's got to. I suppose by the time this releases, it's far too late, and hopefully he has got to his 100. But the first episode after this one, so next week's episode, we're recording a bit earlier, so we can't work out what's going on. Next week's episode, we'll actually have a short from Ashton if he's hit his 100. So as an octopus of my word is that if he doesn't hit his 100, I'll make sure that Santa's not released.
Right. Okay.
So
Are you giving him anything else other than you're going to release Santa if he gets to 150, or are you going to give him a challenge that something good's going to happen?
Well, for starters, if I release Santa, he gets Christmas presents, doesn't he?
True.
So I think that's good. But no, we'll be having Santa on as a special guest in the next couple of weeks. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's
exciting.
The white van's currently en route to pick him up right now. He's going to go into Blake's old cell. There's no chubba chups to the fat man. He's specifically requested some candy canes. So.
Candy canes. So does that mean if we've got a Santa, because I have a Santa collection, do I get to keep him?
Well, if you're smart, you'll put in the comment section below if you've got any naughty kids and that you want to be called out on the podcast, and we can have Santa read out a naughty list, and we can specifically get your kids to behave yourself. And all it's going to cost you is an introductory rate of $14.99 a week. So
I'm going to admit something now that I've done in the past.
Oh no!
So what are you doing? When my kids were little and they were naughty and not doing the right thing in the lead up to Christmas, I actually had a friend that I would actually tee up to ring them and pretend he was Santa Claus and tell them that they weren't going to get any presents unless they started behaving themselves.
Yeah,
It worked a treat.
And apparently,
there's parenting advice, boys and girls.
I was going to say, apparently, I'm the diabolical one, so I don't know how that works. But
when I was a kid, we used to live next to a big spud farm, and Dad used to get spuds for free and that sort of stuff. So it was always the thing all through the year. If you're naughty, you just get a bag of spuds for Christmas and that sort of stuff. And every Christmas morning, that's all that would be. There was just a sack of spuds. And I used to get so excited because they are the best damn spuds that you're going to have, like roasted. So I used to be like, yes, I got sack of spuds for Christmas. Like, I was just so excited and happy. But obviously got some other stuff there because I'm a good boy. But
well, I hope so.
Well, that's right. Well, I can resolve that issue with the spuds. There we go, Granny. How's that look? So we apologise in advance. If we had known about the spuds beforehand, we wouldn't have asked him to come back on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you would. I had to say the vote would have went a little bit different if you had started talking about spuds. Wouldn't that be right? But I suppose we get into this week's topic. We're going to talk a bit about community because apparently it's a bit hot topic in the comment sections in Facebook groups and apparently in Discords as well. So
yes, and people are even mentioning it in their videos too about it all. So yes, interesting.
Yeah, so we're just going to basically, like I said, this primary subject has probably came from a comment section from our previous video. So we had a commenter that I won't mention their name because I didn't ask them, but they're basically talking about how lonely it is being a reseller and all those different things. So we kind of wanted to shine a little bit of light on it. We're going to do a little bit of our humor, so hopefully no one gets offended, but every time we open our mouth, Granny, someone gets offended. So
yes, look, listen, you lot out there. So while you're watching this portion of the video, just remember that, it's just our Aussie thing to poke fun at people or, say things off the cuff. So instead of being offended, put your big girl panties on or your big boy panties on and suck it up. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And more often than not, Leon and I normally take a swap at each other. So it's not as if we're aiming at anyone particular. And this piece is not so much like I said, to start a reseller war. Otherwise, we're just going to talk a little bit about the community aspect that we find as resellers. So I know Blake's mentioned in the past previously because he's probably the prime candidate for pissing off a lot of people in the reselling community.
Well,
but oh, that's right. But this is, I suppose, that's the line of questioning I was going with. Blake, you have said on numerous times that you do feel very isolated by being a reseller. Is that something that you found since you started doing reselling, or?
Yeah, well, personally, I love it because I don't like people. But it is very isolating. It can be extremely lonely. You're usually just stuck in a room with whatever you're selling, and you don't really see people unless you go out to an op shop and that. And most of the time, you're not interested in talking to people anyway. So, it's very lonely, and I don't feel it as much because I've got the YouTube side of things, and I've got a partner and all that kind of thing. But if I didn't have YouTube and I didn't have Lisa, I'd probably be very lonely, and it can be you just feel isolated a lot of the time. And when I first started reselling, I felt a bit of that because I didn't have the YouTube audience, and I was by myself at that stage. And so I was very much yeah, it was a bit lonely and a bit sad. But like personally, I liked it. But like I know for a lot of people aren't like that, and people naturally do need a bit of social stuff, and they need to be around people and that kind of thing. So I could see how it would be a very big issue for a lot of people out there.
I was going to stop you there as well and just say that your YouTube audience is probably not existent as well. So that's just an extra layer. Oh, sorry, Granny, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, I was just going to say that my YouTube audience is probably like that's the one thing that's probably blown me out of the water more than anything else, because I do these live streams, which I thought the first one I had 30-something people in. I thought no one would come, and all of a sudden there was all these people there waiting, and I hadn't even started, and that was the night I talked for 4 hours straight. I might add, and she
hasn't stopped.
Yeah. Well, look, a friend that I went to school with once told me that I could have fun by myself in an elevator. So yeah, but I mean, I just find this so social, like even doing the podcast, because we've all developed a friendship because we're always interacting with each other, and so you start to develop like social relationships even though you haven't met physically.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of that loneliness away. But the other aspect of it is that even if you've got family around you, it can still feel isolating and lonely because they couldn't give a rat's bum about your reselling business. They don't want to hear about it. So, and you go out and you say, "Oh, I've just sold a pair of, Italian Star jeans for $50 in plus post. How fantastic!" And they just like, who gives a rat's? Like, whereas you tell someone else that's reselling and in the community, like, yeah, that they are pleased for you and happy for you, and they can understand that.
Yeah, you got a lot in common with people sort of in that online community, and I think it is important. Like, even before I started the YouTube and that kind of thing, I did have like an Instagram and that sort of stuff, and I spoke to a few people even just through that, and that just find sort of like-minded people, which at the very least is something that most resellers should do, is try and find some sort of like-mindedness with someone, because most people aren't going to understand. Like, half the time, people will just think unless you're actually going out to a job, then what you're doing is just a load of crap anyway. Like, I've got a few,
not a real job.
People like, yeah, I've got a few people that have been like that, my family and stuff like that. And yeah, like it could be very easy to get beaten down by that kind of thing if you don't have a bit of a community, that you can surround yourself with and talk to about what you're actually doing. Some people that actually understand.
Yeah. Look, I had a boss years ago, sort of before I started caring for my mum. I worked in insurance. And anyway, a young guy, so one company bought the other company out. So we both finished up working together, and he was my boss, and he was like, 20 years younger than me. But he was the most fantastic boss I ever had. And what he used to do was every morning he'd make sure he would say, "G'day, how you going?" But at the end of the day, no matter whether he was in the office or whether he was on the road, he would ring in, or he would come into my office and speak to me and go, "So how'd you go today?" And like, I'd tell him what had happened, and he goes, "Well, that's great." Like, even if I'd done filing, he made the effort to every single day tell me that I'd done something good. And I just thought, like, and I still remember that so vividly now. And I think that's the thing in doing what we do. If you haven't got some people that understand it or say, "Oh, good on you for getting that sale," like, even if it is in a Instagram post or a Facebook post or in a Discord, like, it is isolating, because you feel like, well, who am I going to tell? Because no one knows.
Well, I thought you were having a dig at me then, Granny, for saying that I didn't tell you you've done a good job, but I'm still waiting for you to do it. I'm still waiting for you to do a good job.
I've given up expecting that from you, Octo.
Yeah, and I think, from my perspective, I echo what you're both saying. Mrs. Octopus doesn't care left. Yeah, sometimes she feigns interest and goes, "Oh yeah, very good that you sold that $4.99 Skylander," kind of thing. But you're right, like, and this person that put that comment in there previously said that she sometimes reminisces about like bad bosses previously, just for that human interaction. And whilst personally I can't stand human interaction, I prefer the company of other diabolical octopuses myself. But I can see from that perspective though, like, in my previous, corporate gig, I was in, I suppose you could probably call it like kind of a HR manager or something along to that. So I did delve a lot into the mental health aspects and a lot of the isolation issues and a lot of the, I suppose, the bullying and all those different things that come along with it in a workforce. That's also transferable to the reselling space, right? Like like it or not, there's reselling cliques in the community. And that's going to happen anywhere, right? Like, some people have a preference for one person, some people have a preference for the other person, all those different things. But what I would go far as to say is that, what you get out of one community, that you probably need more than one community to get stuff out of, right? You're only going to be fed one line of thinking from one community. But if you're in multiple communities, which there's nothing wrong with it, you don't plant your seed in like one community and just basically grow from there and go all those different things. Delve into different, like Blake was saying, he's in Instagram and it reaches out from that perspective. Like YouTube, do all those different things so you can kind of build those connections out there and build communities. And like Granny's got a Discord. I know John the Reseller's got a Discord and all those different things. Just because you're in one Discord doesn't mean you can't go into the other Discord. So like I said,
there's quite a few members in mine that are in the other one.
It's nothing like I said. There's nothing. I suppose nothing pisses me off more than I suppose people becoming indoctrinated in communities, right? Because then they start like a little bit of groupthink and start we always joke about drinking the Kool-Aid, what we have previously seen in other groups that we have done videos on. But that's like it's not healthy because what happens is that actually starts impacting your mental health as well. And and I will put a caveat at the start of this video. I'll record one after we've recorded, but these are the things you need to be careful of. Like toxic groups and toxic all these different things, and it's almost to the point where you need that interaction, but you don't need the toxicity. And I'm not saying that every group's toxic, or there are elements in every group that's toxic, right? Like, that Granny, I'm quite toxic to Granny. but it's all fun and games, like all those different things. But just don't ground yourself into one community if you're not.
Don't limit yourself, I guess, is my way of putting it. Don't limit yourself to being in one community, because I think the danger there is, and we saw that in daily refinement a bit, didn't we? To be honest, like it everyone that was. Well, not everyone. I'm not going to say it like that, because there were people probably like us that didn't feel the same way. But, people get stuck on the fact that group is the correct group and what they tell you is the truth. And that's the only thing you can believe. And we have to support just these people and defend them. And, therefore we're not going to interact with anyone else that doesn't like them. And I mean, that's just silliness. Like, we're all adults. And I've used the example a few times of late that, if we all met at a reseller mixer and we were all talking in our individual groups, so, people from the daily refinement group were in that corner talking, and then people from text group were in that corner talking, and people from John's group. Well, eventually you're going to start mixing and interacting, aren't you? You move around the room and talk to other people. Now, if you and I hadn't met each other and then we ran into each other, I'd run the other way. But no. If we did and we were talking and you believed that, the sky is green, and I said, well, no, it's blue. But we could, because you're face to face, you'll stand there and have an adult conversation and agree to disagree in the end, because I'll give my opinion, you'll give your opinion, and neither of us are going to believe the other. So we walk away and talk to someone else agreeing to disagree. The trouble with sometimes with text messages and chat groups and that sort of thing is that people don't do that. They just sort of keep pushing their point, getting nastier and nastier, instead of saying, yeah, fair enough, that's your opinion, great, and that's sort of,
and that's like we said, you find that quite often, and that's not just exclusive to workplaces, right? Because I suppose if people are listening to this, God help you if you are, but if you are working in a corporate environment, you probably are, unless you're working in the best workplace in the world, you probably are having toxicity issues, or you're at least aware of them. And that like I say, that transfers across to the reselling space as well. It's because like there are a mixture of introverts, extroverts, and all people, different sizes and different mentalities and different everything in the reselling space, and they've all got their own opinions. Like Granny was saying, is that and I suppose that chatting in in YouTube land and on Discord, where you've actually got to choose your user ID and you can hide behind the face of an avatar. People are going to say more things that that they probably wouldn't say face to face with what Granny was saying. So all these different, I suppose that you call them keyboard warriors and all these different things. But the fact of the matter is that I think what I personally believe is that you probably want to steer away from people that, I don't want to say God complex, but that you're gravitating to a certain person because you watch them on YouTube, or you really like the disgruntled octopus, or you like Grumpy Granny, so you're just going to join our Discord group, and you're just going to spruik whatever they say, kind of thing. But what I would suggest is basically get into a few different communities, and if you ever feel threatened or you feel uncomfortable, leave that community. Just basically say, all right, thanks guys, it's been fun. You don't have to be snappy or snipey or all these different things. Just go, hey, look, I'm just going to withdraw and go from that space. Like numerous times that Granny and I have withdrawn ourselves from communities that we've seen as toxic. It might necessarily be across the board. You're just what we're perceived to be not fit for us. And there's nothing to say that you can't do that in that space as well.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the beauty of having more than one group that you're in, because even if people they don't want to withdraw from a group because then they think they're going to be on their own. Whereas if you have got another group that you can go to that you're already in, then you're not going to feel that loneliness as if that was the only group that you're in.
That's right. And I suppose as well, just to cut Blake out of the equation, I might as well just take him off the screen, Granny. So give me
I know you guys just talking between yourselves.
but I think that and we've stumbled into numerous lives, both Australian resellers, UK resellers, and American resellers as well. No, that's probably more than both, but anyway, for contention to the point. But we've jumped into live chats and we've been instantly welcomed into different areas. So like I said, if you ever feel lonely or you feel that the world's caving and all these different things, just jump into a live, say hello, and the smaller the channel, the better it is, right? You don't want to be jumping into Harry Tornado's chat, with he's got like 400 or 500 people in the live, and you want that interaction. Jump into a smaller channel with under 1,000 or 2,000 subs, and say hello. Then you build a rapport from that perspective, and then, like you said, you get into another community and start building off from those perspectives as well. So. And what about you, Blake? What do you have to say?
And if you're from Australia and you're going to
apparently
an American one, they really like our accent. So, I don't know how you get around that if you're only going to type. But anyway, all you're going to do is say, I'm from Australia, or say, hello, it's Georgie Blogs from Down Under. And they go, oh, you're from Australia, blah, blah, blah. It's good.
I think the biggest thing is with all these different communities and stuff, it's still great and that. And I've been a part of a group and that. It's a great feeling, but it's a very fine line you gotta walk, because you can definitely lose your sense of self and lose who you are and what you think. Because like you could go in there, and then you hear all these people saying all this stuff, and there's so many people saying the same thing that it's like you start to believe that as gospel, and that's exactly what. It's the only way to do things. It's the only way to resell. It's the only way to be this kind of person. And then you forget anything that you thought about in the past and who you were. And all of a sudden you're a sheep to a much bigger group, and you're following a herd essentially. And like you got to stay to your. It's the same with any cliquey kind of thing anyway. Like it's like in high school. You got different groups of people and they're all the same. And it's like that kind of thing. They're all the same. And like, you got to be true to yourself and be what you believe in, but you still need to be able to think for yourself. Like even I think 2 episodes ago when I was on here, you were saying something about like buckets and eBay putting you into different things and that. At the time, I disagreed with you and we spoke about it.
Yep.
And I said my point, you said your point, and we just sort of agreed to disagree or just went along our merry way. We didn't rip each other's throats out and be like, so-and-so said this, so it's got to be right and that. So you just got to be, think for yourself still. Like it's great to be part of a community, but still you've got to be your own person as well.
Yeah. And I mean, cults probably sounds a very harsh word to use, isn't it? But some groups can actually have that feel or that cultish kind of behavior because, you've got people at the top that are saying, this is how you do it. And the followers that are then agreeing, over time starting to agree and do it that way. And then they go on to say, this is how you do it. And I think that is dangerous. I think it's dangerous for your mental health, and it's dangerous to isolate yourself to that sort of behavior too. So I just warn against that sort of stuff too. I mean, I don't know. Octo, do you know how do you like see that someone, whether a group has got that behavior? If you get in there and you think, they've welcomed me, but
Yeah, and what it comes down to, right? Like my previous experience, and this is not expert advice or expert opinion. It's just what I've learned over the years, especially dealing with these cases, because apparently you can't hit humans; it's frowned upon. So you have to apparently use your words to resolve these things. But I suppose if you're and I'm going to use the worst case scenario, right? If you're on the edge of doing something very stupid, if you're very pressured under all these different things, eBay's your only source of income, or reselling is your only source of income. You've had a suspension, or you've been blocked or banned, or just say worst case scenario, right? You're probably in a really down place. If you start going to reselling groups and trying to implant yourself into that community, you're going to be very susceptible. There you go. Susceptible.
There's a big difference between susceptible and susceptible.
Well, I was going to say, disrespectable. You're going to be very susceptible to anything that they push forward, right? Because you're going to be looking for that inclusion or that dopamine hit of being like taken under the wing kind of thing. Like what Blake was saying is what Blake was referring to is called groupthink. But if you everything's doing well and you're quite comfortable and you're quite healthy from a mental health perspective, and you go into a group and they start saying, all right, when Grumpy Granny comes in, we got to say hello to her and start singing a song. You're probably like, hey, this is a bit off for me. I'm just going to slink out the back here. But like I was saying, if you're in that emotionally vulnerable spot, you're going in there because these people are welcoming and they're very courteous towards you, and they're like, oh, hey, Leanne, welcome, or hey, Blake, welcome, or hey, disgruntled octopus, there's the door, go at it. These are the kind of things you need to be careful of, right? So I would be very mindful if you, especially, you see it all the time on Facebook, right? Like a lot of people are, quite down in the dumps and all these different things. Then, some person might say, hey, look, why don't you watch Life of a Reseller's channel? They do all these different things. And depending on the person that they refer to is almost like the gateway, right? Like, they might say, all right, hit up Grumpy Granny and look at a Discord and go in from those different things. And depending on, the mindset of that person, it depends which way they go. And likewise, you might be the cancer in the group. Like, from the person, actually viewing this, if you're negative and you've got a bone to pick with someone and you go into a group and you start, throwing tentacles everywhere, don't be surprised if they politely ask you to leave, either politely or impolitely. This is something that a lot of people don't reflect on. That we do have people in the community that that their sole purpose is just to be a shit fight or just a pain in the ass. And all these different things. And like I said, that what's well and good, but that's not a part of the people we want to relate to, and all those different things. And other people shouldn't be exposed to that as well. So like if someone's running a Discord and you come to the group and you say, this is I don't agree with this, or I don't want to do this, or I don't agree with the rules, see yourself out, because but on the flip side is they're the people that whinge the loudest. They're the ones who got kicked out of the group, or I joined Grumpy Granny's group, or I joined Blake's group, or I joined John's group. They kicked me out. It's kind of like, well, why did they kick you out? More often than not, that there's that fine line between like cult and the person being I suppose being a pain in the ass. But on the flip side is that if you ask a legitimate question in your Discord group, just say, hi, Granny, I'm new, I don't sell books, am I still welcome here? And then you tell me why you question me, piss off. That's a red flag straight away, right? So I think you probably need to go, and like we were talking about last week, is when you were going through watching YouTube videos for the last 12 months, if you are in a group that has like a public chat history or something along those lines of that, go through the chat history and see how the interactions between members are. And what Brenny was saying is, like, is there a hierarchy system in this thing? Do you have to, like, before you can talk to the dear leader, do you have to go through 3 or 4 people? Like, that'd be first a red flag to get out of that group and say, hey, this is not for me. I'll just go on my merry way. And, like I said, and then, as a responsible human, you wouldn't recommend that group to another person. You probably just go, hey, look, that didn't do anything negative to me, or, I'll just keep my mouth shut, but I won't recommend it to other people. So there's different ways you can handle this situation, right? So, but I think, if you are in a downtrodden place, you are, thinking about things that probably shouldn't be mentioned on this channel, but there are support services, right? There are professional support services. Don't go to Facebook groups, or don't go to Discord groups when you're feeling very vulnerable. Go to the professional services, like financial, mental health, and all these different ones that you can utilize first. You don't really want to particularly be going to the seeking support of people that probably don't have the best intentions in mind for you, because like you're just going to dig yourself into a hole. So
yeah, all the qualifications, and to be able to actually deal with that stuff, because it is a proper thing that people do years of training to deal with, and like especially from like a vulnerability aspect sort of thing, especially if you're someone that you might have come out of a job or school or something. Like I know most people that are watching this are definitely much older than school and older than me and stuff, but like just to sort of relate to it kind of thing. When I was in school, I left school. I didn't have a lot of friends in school, and that's fine because I don't like people, like I said. But it can be very easy to leech onto the first people that show you the slightest sign of, hey, come over here, be our friend kind of thing. And like, you might be insecure within yourself. You might, just be not very good in social situations. You go into a Discord group, or you go into a Facebook group or something like that, and people are like, oh my God, hello, welcome to the group, la-da-da-da-da, you're more than welcome, share your opinions, all this sort of stuff. And you just instantly, you'll think, wow, oh my God, this is the best. I got all these new friends. And then bam, like that, they've got you on the hook. You're going to believe every single thing that they say. And, so if you're in a vulnerable place as well, like in terms of anything, just be very careful about what you sort of plan to do.
Yeah.
And like Octo said, there's definitely different ways to go and talk to people, and outside of internet people.
Sorry, Leon, I was going to cut you off. Just what Blake was saying as well is that let's face it, right? Like reselling, we've said this numerous times, even though you're not selling the same stuff per se, other resellers are still your competitors, right? And if you walk into a group and say, hi, I'm Blake, or I'm the Octopus, and whatever it is, then they're overtly nice, and they're always to the point where they're sickly sweet.
What do you want?
All that as well, but you almost have to go in with a bit of skepticism. Say, hey, well, look, if you, like Granny was saying, if you went to a mixer or you went to somewhere in the human world to interact with people, people wouldn't just be throwing their arms open to you, willy nilly. So hi, I'm Blake, and all of a sudden, we're best friends now, kind of thing. So you kind of want to ease yourself into that relationship, because like I said, there are people that don't have the right intention. There's a lot that do. I'm not discounting this, and I'm not saying that everyone's trying to scam you or probably take you for a ride or all these different things. But these are the things you need to be very mindful of, especially if you're in that, like Blake was saying, he was quite isolated because he's only got his reselling business and all these different things. You're starved for human interaction. So it kind of like reflects that cult mentality on the outside. Like, if you went to Jonestown or something like this, they're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Then they welcome you. They welcome you. As soon as you walk through the door, that's kind of a bit of a thing. Something you need to look out for. But this is what you need to look out for in the community as well. And not to say that you have to kind of like have shifty eyes. And everyone has two motives behind what they're saying. Just be very mindful of what your mind state is when you walk into it. And like I said, that numerous times that Granny and I have said that if you want to reach out to us on Instagram, we're quite polite. We'll talk to you and all those different things, but that relationship doesn't develop over two messages, right? Like if we'd spoken for 3 or 4 months, we probably would be considered friends, and we probably would speak to you more candidly. But if you just send me a message saying, "Hey, what are you doing Friday night?" There's probably not a good chance I'm going to go out with a drink, because you're probably a serial killer. Because but these are the things that kind of build over time. So, but like I said, I think. But the community aspect is very important from the reseller space.
And the other thing is a bit of a red flag too, like from my experience of being in a group. I would have a red flag if I went into a group that I became a member of, and then I saw something that I thought could be improved in the group, and you make the suggestion. If you get held down because you've made a suggestion to improve it, like not saying that my suggestion is right, right? It's more the reaction of the people towards you. So if you get actually held down about it, rather than them have a discussion with you and talk about, well, why they don't want to make that change, because it could be a very good reason why they wouldn't want to, then, run.
Yeah. And I think,
even jump into a white van.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. If you're Santa Claus.
And you end up like me.
I was going to say, if you're Santa Claus, they're coming for you next. But no, Leanne's right. Like, I suppose transplant your mentality to where you're working. If you're working for a very toxic boss and all these different things, and if you're having that same interaction when you go to your boss and say, hey, look, this is what I think would be a better process, or this is a better way of doing whatever you do, and they tell you, they tell you to shove off, or they take credit for your IDs and all those different things. Transplant that into communities and say, well, is this what's happening? But like a healthy way would be to do it is like, hey, Leanne, I've got this idea, and you go, hey, look, before you came in, we actually trialed that, or we thought about doing that, but it didn't work, or it wasn't conducive with all the members, because a lot of our people are in Australia, so let's not move everything to the American time zone, for example. Like kind of have that bit of communication and say, hey, look, and you don't have to do it in the group. You don't have to, because what will happen is that people will jump on the group and start taking pieces of you as well. There's nothing wrong with the community, I suppose, the person running the group to reach out with you on a one-by-one basis and speak to you from that perspective as well. So, but
and I think
it's all about respect.
It is all about respect. It is all about respect. And I think one of the things for me is, don't just, like, if you're having issues and you need to talk to someone in the group about it, like someone, up the top or whatever, and they're not willing to talk to you about it, I mean, that's another red flag. But if they are, I mean, consider doing a video chat, in all honesty, because, texting and chat rooms are great. And they're fantastic, because you can do so much in them, and you can go in and out at your own time. You don't have to sit there and be talking to someone in person. However, if there's something really like that you need to talk to someone about, or even if you do need to talk to someone and another reseller has said, look, I'll talk to you anytime, contact them and see if you can FaceTime them and actually have a human interaction, because that is a whole, have a human Octo interaction. Because I mean, that changes everything, like having it that way, because people can't take the wrong tone with what you say, because I've had it happen to me numerous times, because I'm very blunt. I'm very, I don't want to waste time and fluff typing, look, would you mind could you please do this, because I've been waiting for 3 weeks for your answer and you haven't answered me yet. And, look, I understand you're really busy, but I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, you haven't done this. Can you quickly get back to me? Like, and people would read that tone that I'm being very sharp and short. I'm not. I just don't want to waste time. And that's just my nature. But if I said that in person, they wouldn't take it. They'd take it differently to how they would take it if they see it in message. So, and we've got FaceTime, Instagram. You can do video messages on Instagram. You can do video messaging or have conversations with people in the Discord. In different Discords, and I'm sure most Discords. I mean, it's pretty easy to organise stuff in there. So if you needed a private chat room that you needed to have a conversation with someone, because with another member of the Discord, speak out to the people, the admins. It can be organised very easily. Even me, that's only using Discord for a week, I could actually organise that.
Look at you going professional.
I
But I mean, sort of playing into the whole thing too. Like, I guess while there's that section of like community that like are going to be overly positive and overly nice that might not have the best intentions, there's also a lot of people out there that are extremely negative and only see there as being one way of doing things. And that's one thing I noticed when I actually but when I started making videos, for example, you get a lot of people commenting in that rather negative light and tell you're doing everything wrong or this, that, and the other. And I mean, it can hit you, and you can feel, oh, why am I even bothering doing this sort of thing? Like, it's I'm obviously doing everything wrong. That's not necessarily the case. So like, don't let the negative comments and negative messages and whatever like completely throw you off what you're trying to do, because a lot of the time it's not really constructive. Like if there's constructive criticism, that's fantastic. I think that's going to help a lot of people. But just because one person says something that came from another group, or one person's been doing this thing for the last 25 years, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only way to do things. Like even if you look at the bigger resellers and stuff, you got like Tech, Daily Refinement. I know there's different ones, like the more YouTube style ones, like Harry Tornado. All those people, they're all successful resellers, but they all do things in a totally different way, and that's okay too. There's different ways to do it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But just because someone tells you you're doing everything wrong and it's this, that, and the other doesn't necessarily mean that, because like they're just a person behind a computer screen as well.
And for God's sake, whatever you do, don't go and sign up for a bloody, $200, $300 course that tells you that you're going to be an excellent reseller in 30 days.
Yeah. And I think that's, I was going to say, we've seen one in the last 24 hours. That's not Australian. So there's don't worry about, put your pitchforks and your torches down Australians. It's not directed at anyone in Australia. But like what Blake was saying as well is that, I suppose from a YouTube perspective, I haven't personally seen it because for some reason, I don't think anyone likes making fun of me. I don't know. But
they're too scared to make fun of you. That's the trouble.
I don't know what it is. Please someone engage me. But what it is that, people on YouTube, they mightn't necessarily know all the answers, and what they're saying might necessarily be correct. But, that, like I said before, that 99% of the time they're not doing it for ulterior motives, or they're not doing it to be nefarious and all those different things. They're just basically putting the information out there. They might be nervous. They might have said something, get tripped up and all these different things. Editing apparently takes a very long time, according to Bradford 2 Aussie Thrifters. We don't edit this video, so if we have any, if we screw up anything, we basically leave it as it is. But like I'm saying, is that that doesn't give you an opportunity to, or a free pass to tear these people down just because they're on YouTube. It's like, yes, you do have to have a bit of thick skin to put yourself out there, but at least they're having a go. Like, they're trying to build, a community to help people more often than not. They mightn't be right, like Blake was saying. They might do things differently to you, for example. But it's not free range to start tearing these people down because they're highly famous YouTubers and all these different things. A YouTuber with 20,000 subscribers or 30,000 subscribers is nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, look at there's 4 billion people on the planet, and I'll rule you all one day. But the fact of the matter is that like 20,000 is not even a drop in the ocean when you look at it from that perspective. In no way are they a personality, and no way does open up for an invitation to take strips off them. But I suppose I was watching a YouTube video from ADH Dave last week, and he was basically saying his wife jumped on, Whatnot was selling, some, yarn or knitting balls or something through, for him, and people in the chat was, tearing strips off it because she didn't know everything about wool, and I'm thinking that's ludicrous, like
it's terrible.
Put roles reverse, right? Put roles reverse in the sense that, if you were doing something and you're on camera, I can guarantee you, sure as hell, that you wouldn't want, people tearing strips off you. So, like I said, just be very mindful, that more often than not, that, like, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but if there is an issue, there's a good chance it's probably you. Like depending, like Brendan was saying, is that you may have been misconstrued because you are blunt, and there's nothing wrong with being blunt. I'm kind of like Granny, is that with the podcast chat that we have between the three of us, Blake might write 3 paragraphs, Granny might write 2 paragraphs. I write a sentence, say, "Hey, do this 1 p.m." and that's it. Like, and they don't take it personally.
Anything that's gone before just doesn't matter. It's just
I said, that because we all work in sync with each other. We know each other, and we wouldn't be offensive to each other. And like if I did have a problem with Leanne, I'd message her directly or something along that, which I do every day.
Multiple times a day.
Yes, I know. Like, you think she'd get it right after all these encouraging messages. But what it is, it really comes down to, I suppose, that you need to look at your own behaviour, and it's basic human interaction, right? And this is quite rich coming from an octopus telling people how to human. But the fact
you've
of the matter
studied
is,
this for long enough, I guess.
Well, that's right. Yeah, there's not much else to do under the ocean. But I think it's a matter of just, like I'm saying, is just if you're not comfortable, just leave. Don't make a big hoo-ha and throw your arms up in the air and say that all these religiously outlandish statements on Instagram and all these different things. Then just like I said, just withdraw from the group, and if it doesn't suit you, or you're not comfortable in that environment, just don't recommend it to other people. Just don't. You'd have to go on a 4-page barrage of how people are parasites and all these different things, and how you're God's gift to reselling and all these different things. You just have to say, hey, well, look, we'll just agree to disagree. So
Yeah. And you don't have to, that's another thing too. Like we've been talking about groups and stuff, but you don't have to be a part of a group. Like I've got a couple of people that I talk to on a semi-regular basis and stuff. They're not part of any groups. They've got their head down trying to run their eBay business, doing what they can. They talk to me and a couple of other people, just about general stuff, just to have that social interaction, talk about reselling and stuff like that. Like you don't have to be a part of a big conglomerate to be able to, not be lonely or whatever like that. You can have 2 or 3 people that you talk to that are that like-minded people and just leave it at that and just don't mind the rest of the noise. Like, because it can get quite, overwhelming with all these different opinions and different ways of doing things, and you don't know where you stand for yourself. But if you put your head down, work hard on your business and just, talk to people for the social aspect, that's a really good way to go about things too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right, Blake. You don't need a group. Like I was saying, I suppose my stance is just because of my background and the different things that I've seen over my professional octopus career. That revolves around a group mentality. But like Blake was saying, is if you're introverted, you may want to go into a group for just to ask a question or just ask a Facebook question, all those different things. But there's nothing wrong with that. But like we were saying, is that you need to look at the quality of information. Like last week, we were saying that just don't go make decisions off the basis of what people are telling you. It's not your business is not a democracy. If 9 people are telling you you're doing it wrong and you're like, well, they said it's wrong, I better do it that way. It's not cohesive with your business. Also say that they're not wrong. You need to look from your perspective.
On that little topic, how many people over time, and I had discussions in the Discord last night again over why I use the padded mailers for jeans. And why I leave the jeans in the plastic bag and just slide them straight into the padded mailer. Like a lot of people say, oh, but you're wasting money. You could recycle the plastic bags. Well, no, I could, yes, but there are reasons. And I've explained that. I did explain it to them in the Discord last night. And it's just interesting because over time I've had, I'm going to say at least half a dozen people sort of query me on it. And, but when I explain the reasons why I do it that way, they're okay with it. But I mean, even if I explained it to them and they were still, adamant that I shouldn't do that, I'd just say, that's just how I need to operate my business. And that's what I always say. Like that works for me because I'm trying to scale up and that's what I need to do to scale up. And if they don't agree with it, well, that's fine. I'm quite happy to walk away. But it's just interesting that when you say that, like that I've had that experience of several people, but it hasn't made me change my mind because I know for my business and for myself that is going to work.
All right, Blake, before I put my 2 cents in, what's your way of doing it?
Doing what with the packing?
Yeah.
I pretty much do the same thing. I don't use padded mailers or anything like that, but I do put the bags straight in, straight in there because it's extra protection for me. And it's a lot easier than me having to throw out and dispose of bags anyway.
Yeah, so Grumpy Granny's few numbers. As much as I'd have to say, Grumpy Granny and I do the same thing. Like I use the padded mailer because they're bigger. That's my sort of thing. And I just slide the plastic bag in because it slides it easier. It takes me 2 seconds, like I said that. And that's the way. That's solely why I do it for. I buy the plastic bags in bulk, so the price is negligible.
I do the same.
So it's like if I was paying $15 for a plastic bag and selling jeans for $20, I would be reusing the bloody bags. But like I said, that bit like Granny was saying, and what Blake was saying as well is like obviously Blake does it incorrect because he's not using the padded mailers. But the fact of the matter is, and he's outside of our community now. Blake, go shoot.
I know I'm getting booted. Yeah,
but you should be providing you need to, young man. Follow the leader and provide your customer with the best experience and do what we do.
But the fact of the matter is the padded mailers do cost. They are more expensive. But I'm not going to say, hey Blake, we're going to ostracize you from the podcast because you don't use the same mailing system. Like, who cares? Like, as long as it gets there and the person that gets them is happy, who really cares? So
but like that you guys saying that kind of thing. That's something that I can take on board and something that I can consider implementing in my business. But the best kind of groups, best kind of people to talk to are the ones that don't tell you how to do things. They help you bounce ideas around and throw and brainstorm. And that way you can pick what little bits, can help and stuff like that. Like a couple of weeks ago, Granny was talking about the padded mailer. So I actually reached out to her, I messaged her and just said, hey, like, are they actually bigger, like this kind of thing like that? And I haven't ordered any yet, but that's actually something that I'm going to end up doing just for those orders where I do have stuff that would usually go into a medium only just that I could fit into a small. So that's something that, but I haven't done it. I haven't felt pressured to do it. It's just something that we bounced off each other for me to be able to make that decision. And they're the best kind of people to be around.
I was going to say it's very uncharacteristic that Granny was talking. No, but you're right though. Like, because I think Granny and I, when we were originally talking about it, is that medium's very similar to the small padded mailer size. So you potentially are. You could save yourself a couple of dollars, and it gives the impression. You mean
the medium padded mailer is very similar in size to the medium satchel, vinyl satchel? That's what you mean to say? That's what you said. Yeah, you said
the small and the mediums.
The small padded mailer is very much like the size of the medium.
Of the medium, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So like I was saying,
you said medium padded mailer. I'm just.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, jeez. All right, where's the get rid of Granny button? No, but I'll start again. So to get rid of confusion, the small padded mailer is comparable to the medium satchel. Almost screwed it up again.
Yes.
So like you could be selling. You could be saving a couple of dollars every time you do a postage run. So, but like I said, that you have to look at it from a cost analysis benefit. If you're buying them individually, you're buying them in bulk. These are the different things you come into play. So,
that's right.
And consider what else you're doing in your business, because if you're already buying padded mailers for something else, like I am, like I have to have padded mailers for my books because there's no way knowing they're going in a satchel. So I've got them there already. So I'm just, if I had satchels when I did have satchels as well, that's just a whole extra thing, and you've got even more things that you have to sort through and more things that you have to buy in bulk, and it gets messy.
Yeah. And I suppose to swing it back down to the community side is that, if Grumpy Granny and Blake and I lived in close proximity, we could probably go, well, instead of paying for individual satchels, how about we buy a block of 1,000, get the discount, and split it 3 ways. So this is something you could do in a community, like that once you trust people, and if you're in close proximity, you could start sharing supplies, or sharing my post business codes apparently.
Oh, right, okay. Well, look, I want to say one thing too, that
here we go.
Listen, you stop you right. If Octo lived closer to me, I'd definitely go and make an effort to go and meet him in person. Contrary to, even though he's sticking his finger up at me, I think that's him doing that, in effect, in his own. No, what I wanted to say was that, especially after I had my experience on Friday meeting Blake, so, there's so many advantages if you can actually reach out and actually physically meet in real life another reseller. And even if it's purely as a business thing, like we learned a lot off each other, didn't we? Like, because we talked a lot the whole time, and
a one-way conversation.
No, it was not a one-way conversation. Thank you very much. But I almost convinced Blake to buy a book. I might say almost.
I actually found her a couple of books just with what I learned throughout the day. I found a couple.
They had pretty pictures in them, didn't they?
Yeah. No words, just pictures. But you learn from each other and learn different things. And it could be something simple, but you're having that chat about the padded mailers, which has got nothing to do with what you sell, but that other person just goes, oh, actually that might work for me. But it's having that, if you can do it, like, it's well worth it, but also great to meet people and I can't say I put a face to the name because I already knew what you look like, but you know what I mean. Like,
it's different though.
It's different.
Actually meeting someone.
Meet if you're not on a podcast together and you haven't been on a podcast for 25 episodes, so there's a less chance of me, probably, knocking Leanne off the perch. But if you are going to meet someone that you've met on the internet and you don't know them very often, very well, meet in a public place. Please meet in a public place.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But I've got one question for you about that Friday, actually. Yes. Am I wider and larger than you thought I would be in person? I've been told before that I am rather wide by some other people I've met before.
I'm not gonna. I wouldn't have said wide was a term that I would have used, but you're much big. Like you're more physique. You've got a bigger physique than what I envisaged. You're a lot taller and a lot broader. There you go.
Broad.
Broader.
She called you fat.
No, I did not.
I'm just stirring the pot.
Like his shoulders and everything. Like he's a lot bigger than what you think when you're looking at him. I think it's the angle of your camera makes you look little.
Yeah. I was a swimmer for years. Did butterfly for years.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's a lot wider than I was expecting straight away.
Yeah.
Big.
I don't know how to get rid of him. I know. There we go.
Please do. I don't like looking at myself.
That explains the wide shoulders, you see.
That's right. Well, that's exactly
there you
right.
go.
Because he's taking out the whole screen. Look at him go.
Yeah.
And I suppose, as for our flipping for last introduction, for Team Grumpy Granny and Team Octo, I'll put that in the podcast down below. Chris, thank you for that. And unfortunately, we don't have anything for the other guy yet. So, but by all means, Chris, feel free to do one for the other guy.
Well, I beat you both to it anyway. So,
Hey, Grumpy Granny and I didn't buy our subs, mate. Like, I don't know what you're starting at. Don't start throwing things over here.
Hey. I heard you bought them in blocks of 10. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done thing. It's a dumb thing these days.
Apparently, it is a thing. I had heard that you can buy them in blocks of 10.
Yes, but
I just haven't found out how much they are yet.
Yeah, that's right. Wait a second. I'm going to kick these out. I tell you, everyone, I'm going to start buying them. If Granny starts beating me to 1,000, I'm going to start buying the subs. I won't let her win. So you better start voting for me. All right, they're back. I better put Granny back.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll be keeping an eye on it because if you suddenly jump up by 10, I'll know that you bought
400.
Yeah. Or suddenly, you've gone from 500.
But I think from I was having a chat to some more reputable YouTubers than our current panel. And apparently, after you get into a certain threshold, after about 1,000, they go into blocks of 10. So there's nothing nefarious about that. So if you do start researching Blake's, his social blade, and he's going up in blocks of 10, that's not nefarious. That's just what happens.
Yeah. What you'll actually see.
What happens is it?
If you look at it, what you'll actually see is every time I publish a video, my sub count goes like this. It goes back down.
That's why we were able to negotiate a very good deal to get Blake onto the podcast. He actually pays us.
Try to stay relevant.
Yeah, and that's the only income we get because we get nothing from YouTube. So
that's right.
somewhere,
Yes, but no, I think that's done for another week. By all means, put your comments down below if you're Team Granny or Team Octo or Team Other Guy if you're that way inclined. And don't forget to subscribe to Grumpy Granny, to Blake. Properly, if you only want to subscribe to one, I'd probably subscribe to Blake after you subscribe to me. That's probably my stance. But
hey.
Yes, but reach out. Grumpy Granny, what do you have coming up this week?
This week, just flat out, like I've got all those jeans to list. I have started listing all the stuff I bought on Friday when I was with Blake. So I'm getting that listed. The books I bought, unfortunately, we'll have to wait a bit because even though some of them are going to be quite good and quite valuable to sell, they were stored very badly in their pong. So they need to be aired out a lot before I can sell them.
In the washing machine. Cleans things.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that advice, Blake.
This is why you don't listen to what all the YouTubers say, because then you'll end up putting all your books in the washing machine.
Yeah, not a good idea, folks. Not a good idea. Pretty much that's about it for me, I think. I don't think I'm doing... I'll tell you what I am doing tonight at 8:30. I'm doing my first takeover of Chris Furlong's weekly live stream. Which that will have already happened by the time you see this.
I was about to say, I'll put the details down below, but it's already happened.
But it'll be ongoing while he's away, so I get to do it for about 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, good. Leanne's done more than what I originally asked her what she's doing on YouTube this week. But Blake, what are you doing on YouTube this week?
Well, not any live streams because Leanne's taken all the slots. But
you can have some of the slots once I get to 1,000 subscribers. Okay, and then I need once I get my watch time up to the
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll share once I get my watch
Oh,
time
she's still
up.
going. Jeez. I think it's worth it. Two Team Octos now. All right, Blake, what are you up to?
In the YouTube sphere, probably not a lot because I got a few videos scheduled, but I got a couple that I'm gonna make, sort of just talking about stuff. I did film an unboxing video again the other day. Those boring ones that apparently people either love or they hate. Except the shirt I was wearing was too short, and every time I lifted it up, my tummy was out. So
Hey, well, you might get the old ladies after you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I was just showing off my 6-pack that I definitely have. But so I had to scrap that whole video, and I wasn't gonna unbox it all again because I've already unboxed it. So it kind of ruins that.
Yeah.
So I'll plan something different. I got actually that'll be tonight. Actually, the same day as this video stream podcast is going live. I'll have a video of what me and Grady got up to when she came down. So that'll be coming out too. So that'll be exciting.
And I'll have one coming out too on that, but I thought I would wait until Blake's comes out and then I'm going to.
Was it? So maybe some channel members might get shouted out in the video, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Is that a hint, is it?
Yeah. One of them did get a mention at the end of the video, actually. Yes, when there's only one, so Octo. maybe not exactly in the light that he was expecting, but he does get a shout out of sorts.
That's all right. My $1.10 well spent. But I think if Granny doesn't have another 4 hours of dialogue to go, I think we should say goodbye because I need to slither off and do other things. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Granny and Blake, for attending once again, against your will, no doubt. But we'll see you all probably, I suppose we'll see you all again tomorrow, but it'll be Thursday for the podcast. Yeah. So we'll have to work out. You'll see us
again tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, that's right. Well, we have to work out where we are, but we're filming on a Tuesday now, so we're a bit skew with what it is. But for the two people left watching, that's all the end. I think it's Wednesday. There we go. Hey,
we'll see you when we see you.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll see you when we see you. We'll say that.
That's right. But ever say that.
We'll scrambled calamari.
Oh, no, tell me about it. 9 brains, Leanne. 9 brains. Yeah. All right, bye.